Good afternoon, friends. I am Dr. D.B. Kumar, Faculty, Geography, and I am very happy to mention that we are the first to release the key for the GS paper 2021 at La Excellence. Now, we are going to have a look at these different questions that have come in the GS paper from geography, and we'll try to answer them along with the reasons for the answers that we are suggesting. So let's go forward and see the answers for different questions. The first thing is the questions in geography this year have been kind of very simple. Some are based on very simple concepts, some are based on very simple facts. So, I don't know, but this year, particularly the questions have been kind of easy, and you also have seen that there is a lot of overlap in the questions from ecology and geography. So, we cannot really separate a few of these questions by saying that these are from geography strictly and these are from ecology strictly. So there is a lot of overlap. Now I have before me this booklet A. So I am going to discuss with you the answers for the questions of geography with a little bit of conceptual explanation wherever it's required. The first question that I would answer in geography is about the Indus River Basin. The question asks you, with reference to the Indus River system, of the following four rivers, three of them pour into one of them, which joins Indus directly. Among the following, which one is such river that joins the Indus directly? Now you see, if you take the basin of Indus, this is Indus, and then you have the other tributaries, Jhelum, Chenab, so I will put I for Indus, this is J for Jhelum, this is C for Chenab. Jhelum would join Chenab, and then further down it is going to be river Ravi which joins Chenab, and then this is Sutlej. Sutlej itself is joined in turn by Beas, so I will just write B for Beas, and this is S for Sutlej, and this is Ravi, I am putting R for Ravi. Then this is still Chenab. Chenab is the one which is now going to carry the combined waters of Ravi and Jhelum till here, and then Sutlej would join it. Sutlej would join Chenab, and it is still going to be called river Chenab. Now Chenab is going to carry the waters of Sutlej, Ravi and Jhelum, and then Chenab would join river Indus in Pakistan, Sindh plains. So the question is straightforward. Of the following four rivers, three of them pour into one of them which joins Indus direct, and that obviously, if you go by this, Indus basin's major tributaries, which are called the Panchnath, because you have five of them, they are called the Panchnath. The answer clearly is Chenab, which is A for 53. We are moving to the next question in geography, which is about a few lakes which have been named. So, I have already mentioned the answer. This is about lakes. Which of the following names are a reference to what? So, with reference to India, Didwana, Kuchaman, Sargol and Katu are the names of which features from the given ones? Glaciers, mangrove areas, Ramsar site wetlands or saline lakes. Lake Sambar, Lake Didwana, Lake Katu, Lake Kuchaman. These lakes that have been named in this question 54 in booklet A, these are all saline lakes from Rajasthan. So, it is a pretty straightforward fact-based question. These are saline lakes from Rajasthan. So, the answer is D for 54. Again, another factual question which is about rivers of the peninsular landmass. 4 rivers have been given in this question, which is 55 in booklet A: Brahmani, Nagavalli, Subarnareka, which is also called as Subarnareka, and Vamsadhara. Now the question is, of these rivers Brahmani, Nagavalli, Subarnareka and Vamsadhara, which rise from the Eastern Ghats is the question. So, when you do India's drainage system, as part of prelims, all of you will definitely go through, the sources of these rivers, into which sea or ocean they would pour, what are their major tributaries, and what are the states which share the basin area of these rivers. That's how we generally prepare for this, fact-based questions as far as India's river systems are concerned. Now, amongst Brahmani, Nagavalli, Subarnareka and Vamsadhara, which are the ones which are born in the Eastern Ghats is the question. River Nagavalli is born in the state of Odisha in Kalahandi district. And that is clearly the Eastern Ghat region of Kalahandi district in Odisha. Its greater length actually is in Odisha only. It has a smaller length in Andhra Pradesh. And so, one river that is going to take its birth in the Eastern Ghats is Nagavalli. The first one, Brahmani, is born in hills in Ranchi in Jharkhand. Hills in Ranchi in Jharkhand, close to Roorkela, so Roorkela Hills, Jharkhand. Those are not part of Eastern Ghats, so Brahmani is not born in the hills of the Eastern Ghats. Nagavalli is born in the hills of Eastern Ghats. Subarnareka, India's so-called gold river, because its sands carry some gold deposits, which is why the name Subarnareka. Subarnareka arises in, again, Ranchi in Jharkhand, and it's a river which is shared by Jharkhand and Odisha mostly, a small part of it being, West Bengal. So, well, we know that Subarnareka is also not born in the Eastern Ghats. Now we have Vamsadhara, where you know that Vamsadhara is a major river of northeastern Andhra Pradesh. It's a major river of northeastern Andhra Pradesh with a huge project also called the Vamsadhara project. So, Vamsadhara is born in the Eastern Ghats of, again, Kalahandi district. Kalahandi district, Odisha. So, the 2 rivers which are born in the Eastern Ghats of Orissa are the ones that constitute the answer. Subarnareka, remove Subarnareka, remove Brahmani. The answer is Nagavalli and Vamsadhara, and Nagavalli is born in the Eastern Ghats of Kalahandi district, and Vamsadhara is also born. In the Kalahandi district. Of course, the Vamsadhara project is in a different district, that is Rayagada district in Odisha. There is a Vamsadhara project, which is a multi-purpose project for flood control, irrigation, hydropower. So, well, dear friends, the answer for 55 is, 2 and 4, which is B in this booklet A. Let's move on to the next question. This is a conceptual question. It touches the concept of the relationship between the primary winds of planet Earth and the ocean currents of the world's ocean basins. Our primary winds are made up of the the westerlies, the tropical easterlies, which are the trade winds, and of course the polar easterlies. One of the major agencies responsible for the generation of the ocean current are these planetary winds. This is concept which has been touched in this question. Planetary winds constitute a major agency to give birth to the ocean current and also give to the ocean current many of its characteristics. Now the question is, in the tropical zone, western sections of the oceans are warmer than the eastern sections of the oceans. Please be careful about the words used in the question. The question is talking about the western section of the ocean. The western section, for example, if this is a landmass, if this is another landmass, the western section of the ocean is this, which is along the eastern edge of the landmass. This is the eastern edge of the landmass. Eastern sections of the oceans are along the western edge of the landmass. This is the eastern section of the ocean. Which is along the western edge of the landmass. The question never talks about the edge of the landmass, it is talking about sections of the oceans, eastern section, western section. So, the first statement is in the tropical zone, where the winds are trade winds, which are tropical easterlies. You know that the trade winds blow like this. These are the trade winds, blowing from east to west. These trade winds are going to carry the waters of the surface, which are warm, along with them. So, the warm waters are being carried. I am just changing, the nature of the ocean water by using a different color. So, this warm water being moved by the tropical easterly, which is your trade wind. The warm waters are going to collect in the western section of the ocean, which is this. This is the western section of the ocean, but the eastern edge of the landmass. The question is on the western section of the ocean. So, the warm waters are going to collect in the western section of the ocean. So, statement 1 says in the tropical zone, western sections of the oceans are warmer than the eastern sections because of the influence of the trade winds, which is correct. Now, if you take the temperate zone, which is the middle latitude zone, I would again take land and land. Question says in the temperate zone, the westerlies make the eastern sections of oceans warmer than the western sections. So, this is the eastern section of the ocean, but this is the western edge of the landmass. The westerlies would blow like this. So, in the temperate zone, the westerlies are from west to east. These westerlies are going to drag the warm surface waters along with them, and they are going to pile they are going to file these warm waters in the eastern sections of the oceans, which would imply along the western edges of the land masses. So, in the eastern sections of oceans in the temperate zone, we have warmer ocean waters than the western sections of oceans. In the western sections of oceans, to only complete the concept, in the western sections of oceans in the temperate zone, these are temperate zone, winds are blowing from land to sea like this. The westerlies are the winds here, the westerlies are blowing from land to sea, which we call as offshore. When the winds are offshore along the coast, surface waters which are warm are being dragged away like this, and as a result of this removal of surface warm waters, the bottom waters which are cold rise to the surface. That would mean the waters here where the winds are offshore are going to be cool to cold, which means western sections of oceans in temperate zone will have cooler waters. Statement says in temperate zone, westerlies make the eastern sections of oceans, this is the eastern section, warmer than the western sections, which is correct because the western sections have cooler waters. This is cooler, so this is warm. So this is the concept which is all about the relationship between the planetary winds and the ocean currents, and therefore the answer for 58 is C. Both 1 and 2 statements are correct. If you take the distribution of water on planet Earth, all of us know that 97% is saline water of the oceans. %3 of planet Earth's water is fresh water. And please remember, in this, river waters account for how much of the total water of planet Earth if you take the total. It is just about. River waters will be, 0.0009. 0.0009% of total water. Then, if you take all the lakes will account for another point, pardon me, 0009 I said, yeah, 0009, this is lakes. I am including saline lakes as well as freshwater lakes, because the word is lakes here. If you take the water that is underground water, the water contained in the fractures and in the soils below the Earth's surface, which we call as groundwater also, or underground water. Underground water is 0.0068%. I'll write it here, 0.68%. Then polar ice and glaciers. These will have the greatest share in the freshwater resource. And if you take the overall water resource, like we have taken the overall water resource when we have been talking about these figures, 0.0009 for rivers, 0.0009 for lakes, and underground water is 0.68. Polar ice and glaciers will have 2%. That is 2%. So now let us have a look at the question. This is a factual question which is about the distribution of water resources on planet Earth. The amount of water in the rivers and lakes is more than the amount of groundwater. Quite clearly this statement is false. It is incorrect, because the amount of water in rivers and lakes is much much less than the amount of water contained as groundwater below the surface of the earth. Second statement, the amount of water in polar ice caps and glaciers is more than the amount of groundwater. The amount of water in polar ice caps and glaciers, again, is more than the amount of groundwater. It's definitely more than the amount of groundwater because it is 2% of the total water resource, whereas underground water is 0.68%. So statement 2 is correct. Statement 1 is false because the amount of water in rivers and lakes is much less than the amount of groundwater. So the answer for question 62 is B. Let's shift to the next question. Black cotton soils of India, which are also called the Regur soils, which are also called incidentally as the, tropical, I'm just giving one more name, they are also called as tropical Chernozems. These soils have been created from the underlying rock that makes up the Deccan Plateau. These are volcanic igneous rocks which are basalts. These basalts which make up the Deccan Plateau have resulted because of this variety of volcanic activity called fissure volcanism, where fissure refers to a linear fracture like this. This is a linear fracture. When magmas are transferred to the Earth's surface via linear fractures as lavas, repeat that please. When magmas are transferred as lavas to the Earth's surface via these fissures, they are transferred as layers of lava or sheets of lava. This is called fissure volcanism. This fissure volcanism is going to lead to the development of this volcanic rock called basalt. So it's a fissure volcanic rock. Basalt is a fissure volcanic rock which makes up the Deccan Plateau. These fissure volcanic rocks, which are basalts, have undergone weathering and have given birth to the clay-rich black cotton soils, which are very, very rich incidentally in clay. So these are the black cotton soils which are rich in clay, which are born from this fissure volcanic rock basalt. So the answer for 64 is B. This is to a certain extent conceptual because it is, tapping the birth of a particular soil type of the landmass of India from a particular type of rock, and where the origin of the rock itself is part of the question, part of the answer. Fissure volcanic rock. So the answer for question number 64 is clearly fissure volcanic rock, which is B. So these then are the answers for these questions that have come as questions from geography in the GS paper this year. And because, as I mentioned in the beginning itself, they are quite simple, touching some basic facts, some basic concepts. So I'm sure most of you must have done well. So wishing you good luck, wishing you the very best. Goodbye to you, and good luck to you once more.